many people here want to make more income? That's good. How many people here want to do it by having a bigger list? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so first of all, is your list growing, if you can call it that, about as fast as a turtle can crawl? So here's the thing. I'm not going to ask anybody the size of their list, so you can all rest assured. What I am going to ask you, though, is how many people, by a show of hands, are adding 1,000 new people to their list every month? 500. 250. You guys are all in the right place. Because that's what we're going to talk about, is how to consistently add people to your list. Now, I don't just mean add people to your list, I mean permission-based, okay? So we all know that not just adding people to your list, that's not really what's going to happen, okay? So I want you to know that when you see the slides, I'm going to make it easy for you and easy for Tony, and I actually put some tweetables in there for you. They'll all say tweetable underneath, I made it nice and easy for you. So here's the thing. So we're going to talk about how to add people to your list so that it helps you to generate income. Because you can have a really big list. How many people have heard the expression that money is in your list? It is, but only if your list is a responsive list. You can have this big, huge list, but if it's not the right target market, or if it's not the right people who are interested in your services, it really doesn't matter. It's kind of like being on social media. You know, you can be on social media and see somebody who has 10,000 followers. But if those 10,000 people are not interested in what you do, it doesn't make any difference. It's noise. So it's all about engagement, right? So we're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about how to take your following, how to take your connections, and how to be able to turn that into income generating. Okay, so we're going to talk about two things today: revenue and relationships. So how many people here are okay with revenue, right? And how many people here are okay with building some new relationships? Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about, revenue and relationships, because those two things are very, very important. So why are they important? Because the revenue is in the relationship. It is all about relationships. Now I could tell you, I could literally stand up here today and talk to you for this whole hour just on networking. I own a national networking organization besides being a business growth strategist, and I teach people all over the world on not only just how to grow their list, but how to network better and how to network more effectively and use the proper strategies. You know, a lot of people, they say, oh yes, I network, but how many of you here are in the networking world? Is there a place that you need to stand better than others? Okay, great. How many people here have been to a networking group? Okay? Okay. So how many people here think that when you've been to a networking group, if I let you tell me this story, you could tell me about an experience that you had, whether it was an event or a conference or a group, or all you really did was eat and pass business cards and hope that they sent you business. It really doesn't do anything for you. Networking has changed. 10 years ago, that might have worked. It doesn't work anymore. We're really at the intersection now of marketing and networking. So you need to think like a marketer. And that is what is so very important. So if you're thinking like a marketer, you still have to network, right? And networking is about relationships. So when you first see the phrase, the revenue is in the relationships, it can kind of get kind of sort of like not really let you have that fuzzy feeling because you're like, really, relationships aren't about money? No, they're not. It is about building relationships, but really, it's about how it can be a win-win-win, meaning a win for you, a win for the other person in the relationship, and more importantly, a win for the person that you both serve. And that's what it's really all about. So the revenue is in the relationship. Second thing is we're going to talk about collaboration, because that's where networking really starts to pay off. It isn't just about you. It's really about who you serve. It's really about what can we do together. Because how many people, we've all heard that we all know X amount of people, 1,000 people, everybody knows all these different people. But the bottom line is you can't serve every single one of them, but it doesn't mean that you don't know somebody else who can. And how can you make that work for you? So really, when you think about relationships, there are so many different ways to make that work. So it's really about how can we collaborate? How can I do something with somebody else and make it work for us? So has anybody here seen that TV show? I think it's called, I haven't ever seen it, so I'll say that, but it's called Chopped. And basically what it does, the synopsis of it, is they give these chefs like seemingly 3 things, like sushi and like 3 different items that don't go together at all. And what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to be able to see who can come up with the best meal out of these different items that literally have nothing to do with each other, and you'd think nobody would ever put them together. Okay, that's kind of what collaboration is. You need to kind of, I don't like using the phrase think outside the box. However, in a way, you need to be thinking about everybody you meet. It's not just them. It's kind of like that network, like the Verizon commercial. It's not just them, it's everybody that's standing behind them. All of them know people too. So what can you do that serves them that you can do together that can become income generating? And it's really very interesting to see the different ways that maybe they can work together. When you think about it, realtors, if you talk to a realtor and they say, well, I'm a realtor and so I like to work with insurance people and mortgage people. That's who they would think would be, oh, that's who I collaborate with. And those seem pretty simple and they pretty easy together. But really, there's so many more people that they can. They can be collaborating with, credit repair specialists. There's all different types of stagers. There's a lot of different people that they can be collaborating with. So you need to be thinking about how can I be networking so that I put myself in a situation that I can collaborate with somebody that if I have a list of 5,000 people and they have a list of 5,000 people and their list is your target market, what can you do together that will get you in front of their target market in a way that they're going to promote you? Because just getting in front of their target market, well, you might as well just be on social media, right? And just buy a list or something. But really, it's that they will promote you. That is the key, that they're going to endorse you to their people. Now, I don't know about you, but somebody, it's that know, like, trust factor, right? Know, like, trust. You can meet somebody somewhere and really hit it off, and you can get to know them, and you can like them. But you're not going to be introducing them or referring them to your family, your friends, or your clients until you trust them, right? Because your name's at stake now, right? So that makes a really big difference when you're thinking about that. So if you're not going to introduce them, are you going to hand over your list, your Rolodex of people that you're marketing to? No way. Who would do that? The gold is in your list, right? However, if you could build a relationship with somebody, and there's things that you could do to collaborate that puts you in front of their list and them in front of your list, and it becomes mutually beneficial and to the people you serve, you could add a whole lot of people to your list and it becomes income generating. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Last, we're going to talk about online marketing. And we all know that this was where sometimes this kind of gets hard. But we are in an emerging tech conference right here, so I'm sure you guys are a lot more online marketing sensitive here. But really, we need to be online. We need to be online because you never know that there's somebody out there who wants your product, but they really don't know about it. So here's the thing we have to know. Ignoring online marketing is like opening a business and not telling anyone. It's so important nowadays. And so have we ever heard that phrase, build it and they will come? That's great, except first they have to know you built it, right? How do they know that you built it? You have to let them know that first, right? And social media is really great at that, right? That will tell them. But we all know that you just can't be getting on social media, broadcasting and talking about things, me. That doesn't work. Social media is wonderful. It is a great way to generate income. We'll talk a little bit about those when we go through our stuff. A couple weeks ago at Social Media Day, I totally spoke on growing your list just socially, and we talked about that. Today, Tony asked me to go a little bit more into ways that you can grow your list that are not just social media, so we're going to go a little bit in depth. Because we don't have a really big crowd here, When I get done, I believe we'll be able to open up the floor, and if you guys want to ask me questions specifically about your business, we should probably have enough time to do that. So we don't want to ignore online marketing. That's really where the money is in online marketing. However, it's very important to be able to follow the right etiquette and to have the right things in place so that it generates income. And so we're going to talk about those. Okay, so here's your first tweetable. See how easy I made that? So permission-based relationship marketing is the fastest and most effective way to grow your list and your bank account. So here's us, here's the people we know, and here's the people they know, just like I talked about that a few minutes ago. So the thing here is, how do I use permission-based relationship marketing to get to all of them? So how many people here have gone to some type of event and you passed business cards with somebody, you thought something they said, and you said, oh, can I have your business card? And then pretty soon that you're getting all this spam. Okay, so we've all had that happen to us. That is not permission-based marketing, right? So really, what you want is you want to build a relationship, and you want them to want to hear your information. You want them to want you to email them, or to be sending them things where they can go opt into your programs or be invited to your events, whatever it is. So you want them to give you permission and to want to build a relationship with you. And relationships don't happen overnight, but you want to be able to build a relationship with them. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Okay, so now we're going to talk about list building. So let's talk about these questions. Why are you building your list? So the obvious answer is to make more money, right? We build our list because we need a list of people to market to. So it's great when you see people on social media. Social media is phenomenal. And I have to tell you that last year, 71% of my business originated on Twitter. 71%. Now the key word there is originate. So it didn't stay on Twitter. I'm a networker, and you have to be able to network online as well as offline. Can everybody hear me in the back too? Okay, good. So 71%, that is huge. It was 64% the year before that, 71% this past year. So I love Twitter. I love Facebook, I love Google+. I use every single one of the platforms, and every one of them is a piece of my marketing platform. Okay, so they're all a part of my marketing funnel, but they're all just a part, every one of them. Now, does every one of them have to work for you? No. Not every single social media platform is the right platform for you. It's really about where is your audience, and that's where you want to spend your time. It's much more important to be consistent. I'm sure you've heard that before. So if you haven't really started using all those things, just kind of start small, but be consistent. But the reason why you want to build your list is this is how you build your marketing funnel. So who should be on your list? Who should be on your list should clearly be your target market. So that's one of the most important things you need to do. So you need to make sure that you're crystal clear on who your target market is. If you don't know, there's a lot of things online. You can hire somebody to help you with that. You know, you can, there's a lot of things that they have online, but really you want to be crystal clear on who your target market is. Now for me, even in my social media, I have segmented lists on Facebook, on Twitter. I have lists on Twitter too, but I vet my followers on Twitter to make sure that always they are my target market. Because you know, the one thing about Twitter, I think this is why it has always been so successful for me, is that just because they follow you, you don't have to follow them back, and vice versa, right? You know, on Facebook, if you're their friend, right? You're friends. It's a two-way street. Twitter, not so much. They don't have to follow you back. You have to earn the right for them to be your friend, right? For them to follow you. So you need to make sure that your content is good content. And that's really, really important. And so that's why on Twitter, it's really a great platform to be able to vet your followers and make sure that you're always putting content out in front of the correct people. So that's really, really important. Okay, so how do you get people on your list? Okay, so like a few minutes ago when I was talking about when you're networking and people pass business cards and then all of a sudden you get all that spam. Okay, that's not how. That's not how you're going to do it. That is not permission-based marketing. So you don't want to be doing that. There's can-spam laws that say that you can't. You're not supposed to. People do. And just so you know, it is not implied consent that if you exchange business cards, that you're giving permission, just so you know. It is not. You can read the can-spam requirements online. It is not implied consent. So if you actually don't ask somebody if you have give their permission, or they haven't opted in of their own free will, you actually do not have permission to add them to your marketing list. So that's very, very important to know. I'm going to tell you though, asking somebody for permission will make you stand out just in itself. Just doing that, so just ask somebody, and just tell them, this is what, my blog is about, this is what my newsletter is about, I really love it, if you come check it out, and then just tell them what it's about and ask them if you have the permission. So it's really, really important to make sure. And not only that, but a lot of the content management systems and stuff, you're charged. Your payment to them is based on the size of your list. So if you have 40% of that list is non-responsive and you just added them because you added them through business cards and stuff, you're paying for them. You're paying for them to be on your list, and if they're really don't care one single bit about what you're doing, you're paying them for nothing. So check your bounce rate, check your open rate, and look to see. And then really ask yourself, did you do that? So I'm going to tell you, one of the ways that you can do that is even if somebody gives you permission, a lot of times they won't remember that they did. People do that. But if you just met them like one time at an event and they said, oh yes, I'm interested, and they didn't, put them in a specific list and watch that bounce rate for that specific list. And that way you'll actually really be able to tell. And that way you can remove them from the list yourself so that you're not paying for that. So for me, my list is over 300,000 people. That's how many emails I send out every single month, over 300,000. I don't want to be paying for people who don't want to be on my list. So it's really, really important to make sure that your list is made up of the people that you want to market to. So how do you keep them on your list? Well, you keep them on your list by making sure that the information that you give them, the value that you're providing for them, the content that you're providing is what they want. Now, one of the ways to do that I feel as things change, how a lot of times in our business, here's what we're doing, and then we kind of do a little bit of this, then we kind of do a little bit of that, and stuff that we kind of expand or evolve. Let your list know. I send my list about twice a year. I send them a survey or a poll, and I say, here's kind of some new things that we're doing. Are you interested in getting information about that? And I let them tell me yes or no. And if you are in any of the Constant Contact or MailChimp, Aweber, or any of those, there's a form that you can do in there. I actually send them and just list them, kind of sort of like radio buttons, and let them choose. I want to know about virtual events, I want to know about live events, I want to know about networking marketing. And then they'll tell you, they just click on the things they're interested in. And if you have your list set up that way, then when you're sending out something, you just send it out to the people that it's appropriate for. That makes sense? Wouldn't you just love it if the only information that showed up in your email box was stuff that you were actually interested in? All right, I would love that actually, if that happened in mine. I probably get about 2,000 emails a day. And I will just take one little side note right here and tell you that when you sign up for something, or if somebody adds you and you unsubscribe, they do get a notice saying that you did. So, that you know. So if it's somebody that you don't care and you unsubscribe, no problem. But if you sign up for something and it's somebody like maybe you're thinking that you'd like to do some collaboration with them, or there's something you want to do, you may have just shot yourself in the foot. So be careful when you sign up, because they're going to know if you unsubscribe. And so I have to tell you, it's kind of important. So I have probably at least 100 or 150 people that I really don't care about what they're sending me anymore. They've kind of gone off in a different direction, but I have a relationship with them. So obviously I don't want to hurt their feelings. I just actually went into Outlook and created a rule and had their newsletters just go right into this file, and I don't even see them, but they don't know. But at least it doesn't hurt their feelings, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to clean those out, to make sure that they go, I saw that, I thought maybe that was on, I didn't know it. So how you keep them on your list is making sure that the information that you provide for them is great content and value and appropriate for what they want to know. Okay? So how do you make money on your list? That's what we all want to know, right? How do I make money on your list? If your list is comprised of people that are in your marketing funnel and you provide consistent content that is of value to them, you are doing them a disservice to think that they're not going to want to buy from you. How many times have you gone to an event or gone and listened to a speaker and you thought, oh my gosh, that was just amazing information, I want to learn more, and then they didn't even give you a way to learn more. They didn't tell you anything, right? And you wanted to know more. So really, you're just giving them an opportunity to find out more information. You're not telling them they have to buy it, right? We're not talking about being overly salesy. We're just talking about, right now, about building a relationship. Now, we are going to talk about sales. So, for those of you who are in sales, don't worry, we're going to get there. Okay, as an example here, I'm going to talk about how you build relationships with people and how it's about influence. Because you can be an expert at what you do, but unless you're an authority, it's not going to help you in your list building, and it won't make you as much money. So the difference in being an expert and an authority is that an expert is somebody who is knowledgeable in this topic, so to speak. But an authority is somebody who is an expert and they also influence other people. So are you an influencer? Can you influence somebody's buying decision, right? Because that's how we're going to make money, right? We're going to influence people's buying decision, right? So let's talk about cloud. How many people here are on cloud? Wow.
Cloud.
Yeah. You are?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, now last year I spoke at Emerging Tech, and last year I totally spoke on cloud. And that was what my thing was on last year, was on cloud. If you're not on cloud and you're on social media, you need to get on cloud. Because whether you like it or not,
Cloud?
cloud, K-L-O-U-T, see right there, cloud.
Oh, okay.
Cloud. And it measures influence. And I know it doesn't matter whether you love cloud, hate cloud, love cred instead of cloud, where you stand on the cloud thing, you don't like their scoring model, you know, all these things that happen, it's here to stay. And it is a very, very big factor, whether we like it or not. Cloud is here to stay. If an actor is going to be on a movie, they look at their cloud score. Can you believe that? They look at their cloud score. You know why? Because they want to know before they're paying them all this money, what type of influence do they have to get people to come to see the movie? Are they influential? The last 3, this blew my mind. The last 3 speaker agreements that I had to fill out to speak, it asked me my cloud score. I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? Now I have a very high cloud score, so it was okay, but I thought it was very interesting that that's how far it's gone now. That they want to know your cloud score. So I love this little picture here of the little cloud score, but I'm going to tell you there's a lot of things now. If you are looking for a job on Monster, they want to know what your cloud score is. People, when they're looking to hire you, they want to know what your cloud score is. What type of influence do you have? They want to know. That is so important now. How do you influence people? So your cloud score is comprised of all the influential things. Social media, there are some outside things too. Here's where the list building comes. If you write articles and you're on Bing, they look at that. Offline things are influencing cloud as well now. It's not just, Twitter is a very big one though, I will tell you. Twitter is really big, Google+, you connect all your social media accounts to it and then it feeds off of that and comes up with a scoring model for you. If you have a Twitter account, whether you're on cloud or not, you do have a cloud score. If you have a Twitter account, you have a cloud score whether you know it or not. So cloud gives you a lot of different things. So influence is very, very important. Now here's the thing. It is so important that just like bloggers now, people pay bloggers to write about them, right? Because how great is that? They go out to the masses. Now big businesses are coming in and giving perks to people who have influence on cloud. Now, can you imagine that? So look at some of these. Audi, here, look at this. They gave away weekends for people to drive a brand new Audi because they have cloud. How awesome is that? They got, Walt Disney came in and let people go see screenings of their movies before they came out. They gave away computers with movies loaded in them. Like, they gave away all these different things just because you have influence. Now, that's kind of amazing when you think about it. Now, nobody's asked me to have the car yet. I have to tell you, that kind of was a bummer and stuff. Although I have gotten cases of Red Bull, which I don't drink. I've gotten all kinds of dinners at Chili's and different restaurants and stuff. So there's a lot of different costs. But here's the one that I thought really was amazing, is American Airlines. And here's where I want you to think about the list building. American Airlines, they gave a perk on Cloud that said if you had influence, here's what they did. They gave you 1 VIP lounge day. So you got to have this perk, and you got to, of course you had to buy a ticket, because it's not like we're just going to go drive out to the airport so we can sit around in the VIP lounge, right? You bought a ticket somewhere, and you got to be anywhere in the world that American Airlines flew, you got to go into their VIP lounge. Did that cost them anything? 0. But here's the interesting thing. To get that perk, you had to go sign up and you had to opt in so they could put you on their list. How brilliant was that? So here, they gave you something that cost them zip, nothing. You get to go in their VIP lounge. I like to go to a VIP lounge. That's kind of great at the airport. So of course I would sign up to do it. Who wouldn't want to do that? Didn't cost me anything. Didn't cost them nothing. But all those people that got that perk signed up for a list. Well, to get the perk, you had to have influence. So they were actually targeting specific people to give that perk to. How great is that? So that's a really great example of how somebody used a list building technique that was income generated. And it was brilliant. So a lot of these different company names are doing it now. And just so that you know, if you have a company, you can also offer a perk to Cloud too. If you go to cloud.com, up at the top, you can actually go in and you can become an expert. You have to get on a wait list, but you can become an expert. And so, and I'm just going to give you a tip right here on Cloud. If you're not on Cloud, please do. It will help you. It will help your influence. But here's what else. When you get to choose your topics, you get to decide. You have all the control. You get to decide what you're an expert in. And then, when you have those topics, other people just come to Cloud and give you plus K, which is kind of like plus 1 in Google, right? Come and say, yes, she's an expert on this. How great is that? And then they get to click a button and you get to tweet about it and tell everybody in the world that such and such said you were an expert. On Facebook and Twitter, how great is that? So that gives you a lot of exposure, right? So that is really great, but you get to choose the topics. Now it used to be that how people gave you, the Cloud determined where your topics went, but actually Cloud now let you go in there and manage your topics so you can actually move them yourself, all by yourself, so it doesn't matter, and you get to choose the topics. I'm going to tell you, if you're on Cloud and one of your topics is in Dallas, you're losing out. So when people search Dallas something, right, you kind of want that to help you. So a lot of times when people go in there on experts, they just say, I'm an expert this, and they forget that maybe they should be saying Dallas. So if you want to be the Dallas expert at whatever it is that you do, you want Dallas to be one of your topics. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so make sure that you do that. So that's just one of the different ways that somebody can use a list building tactic to actually make money. And making money when it doesn't cost you anything is even better. Now I have to tell you, just for this, I went and checked it out, and I went on Twitter and I tweeted to American Airlines and I told them that I was going to be using them in my presentation, and they actually tweeted back to me and said, oh Patty, thank you so much, we're so happy to hear that. And then I tweeted back and said, just last night late, I tweeted back to them and I said, yes, and I just bought my airline tickets to California for the next 2 speaking things, and I'm really hoping when I go home today that they're gonna give me something. I don't know, but they should, right? But anyway, it's kind of interesting that they actually did tweet back, right? So that's kind of great there. Okay, so your list. So here we're talking about your list. So your list is your greatest asset. So your list is your community, your network, or your tribe. People call it all kinds of different things. Here's another one of those tweetables we were talking about here. So your list is your bank account, but if it's built on service and relationships, it's going to be your retirement account. So that's very, very important to remember to make sure that your list is built correctly. I don't have time on here, so somebody make sure. You're going to actually keep me up on my time, right? Okay. So we really want to make sure that your list is built on service, and again, that your list is built on relationships. So your tribe, your network, your community. And that could be on Facebook, on Twitter, your LinkedIn groups, wherever your community is, or offline. This is where your list is originally. But have they opted into your list? Just because they're your community, just because they're your tribe, how many of them are on your email list? So, I don't know about you, but how many of you would love every single person that you're friends with on Facebook if they all opted in and you were actually got to email them? Wouldn't that be great, all those friends that are on there? So instead of trying to talk to them all the time on Facebook, if you actually got to have them all on your email list. And the same with Twitter and LinkedIn. You know, that would be really great. I mean, on LinkedIn alone, I have over 14,000 first tier, and that would be really great if every one of those people were on my list. Now, I work on it all the time. But there are reasons and things that you have to do, because you have to, again, build those relationships, right? Okay. So how many of you are thinking that now that I said all that? I'm so busy, how am I going to find time to build my list? Right? I have to tell you, I feel like when I saw this picture, this was so me. I was like, oh, I'm so busy. I work a million hours, you know. This is me, I'm so busy. This is, you know, I hear this about social media. You know, people say, oh, Patty, you know, I spend so much time on social media. How am I going to spend time on list building too? But here's the question I'm going to ask you. How many things that are on your to-do list are producing you income? Because there's productivity and then there's just activity, right? You have to ask yourself. So in my house, on my team, I have this saying that says, there's now money now, and there's more money later. Now money now, more money later. And what happens is everybody seems to like to be in the more money later spot. It is so comfortable. It's not so scary because you don't have to be so sales driven. It's a more comfortable space. And so we all seem to focus on more money later. But the thing is, we need to be focusing on now money now, too. So on my team, we have a rule. Every single day, we're working on more money later, right? Because we all know you can't just be working on this deal and then that deal closes and you're like, oh, what am I going to do now? So we all know that we do have to be marketing. However, we do have to work on how are we generating income today. So every day, 5 things we have to be doing that generate income today. So you need to be thinking about what are those things. And in a few seconds, I'm going to start breaking down what those things are that you can be doing so you can start working on your action list. When you leave here, I'm really hoping that you're going to have an action list of the things that feel okay for you to be able to do. And I realize that every single thing I'm going to say isn't going to be something that's going to fit you or your business. At the end, I think we'll have enough time for you to be able to ask questions about your business, and I'll try to answer as many of those as I can. But really, we want you to be able to lead with some things that you can put into place. I'm not just here to motivate you. I want you to lead today and execute, okay? So, traditional marketing is telling people you're a rock star. But content marketing is showing that you are a rock star. And that is really where content marketing is about. That's why you're here today. What are those things that I can do? But just having content marketing, it still has to produce income. I don't know about you, but all these things I do, at the end of the day, I still have a mortgage payment. So, you know, we still have to be making money. And the thing is, we do what we do, hopefully, because we love it and we're passionate about it, but we do still have to make money. So here's my question. How many people here have their own business? How many people here are in marketing? How many people here are in sales? Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, if you have your own business, you are in marketing. And if you have your own business, you are in sales. So that right there is the first thing that you need to write down. If you have your own business, you are in marketing, you are in sales. There's nobody else. You are it. Okay? So, now we're going to get into the details. So here's just a few ways to grow your list. I know it's kind of quite a few, but we're going to talk about them, okay? So the first one we're going to talk about are opt-ins. So how many people here on your website First of all, we'll start easy. How many people here on your website have an opt-in of some type? Okay, good. How many people here are utilizing social media and have an opt-in on their social media? For example, good job, guys. So for example, I'll go easy and we'll talk about social media first. So on social media, on your Facebook business page, underneath, here's your profile picture, and over here you'll see these little boxes, and they usually say how many likes you have, and how many photos, and all those little boxes. Those are called custom tabs. If you're not utilizing them, that's what they put in there instead. But those custom tabs can also be made into opt-ins. One of those people could click on, and it would take to your blog. One of those you could click on, and it could take into the opt-in for your newsletter. One of those could go to a freebie you have on your website, an ebook of some type. Maybe you are having some type of program, or you're having a workshop, or you're doing some type of an event that you're having, and you have a sales page. One of those could go to that. So every time somebody goes to your Facebook page, they should be able to click on any of those boxes, and every one of them should go to some type of opt-in that gets them on your list so that you can market to them. Does that make sense? It's a very simple way to do it. It's very, you can actually Google how to make custom tabs. It's very, very easy. If you don't have anybody, I know somebody who does it for like $35. It's really cheap. So she does mine, and so when you think about it, that's a very, very inexpensive way to grow your list. So here's all these people that you're interacting with on Facebook, but how do you get them off Facebook and get them on your list? That's very, very important. But once they do, and they join your newsletter list, I've seen people have a free video series, or some type of just a newsletter, or they have some blogging thing, or a contest, or a challenge, or some type of thing. This is a great way to do that. So does that make sense? Okay. Second thing is, once you have an opt-in, you should have an autoresponder series set up to that. Now, does everybody know what an autoresponder series is? Okay, let me tell you. So an autoresponder series is basically set up that when somebody opts in to your list, they automatically get a series that you choose, what the series is, of emails. One of them is usually, and when I tell you, you'll watch, oh, I get this all the time. So an autoresponder series is like this. What will happen is you'll get a thank you. Well, first you'll get a confirmation to confirm that you signed up. Then you're going to get the thank you. And then usually what happens is you'll get 1, 2, 3, or 6 emails following up on whatever it is that they told you were going to get when you signed up. So if it was like a 5 video series, if it was whatever it's going to be, you're going to get that. Okay, so that's an autoresponder, meaning that the person set it up, and when they set it up, it's just auto responds back to you. They don't have to do it at the time. So that's really nice, right? You set it up once and you don't have to do it again. However, here's where people don't utilize it. Now, you got them on your list when they opted in, but how's it make you money? So here's one of the ways that it can make you money. One of the ways it can make you money is if you are doing an autoresponder, there needs to be an OTO, which is a one-time offer. You'll see that phrase, OTO. It means one-time offer. And basically what this is, truthfully now, not something that they're going to see on your site so you fib, right? But a one-time offer to get something that's the only way they're going to be able to get it. That's why it's a one-time offer, right? But this is the way to be able to see who is serious, right? They opted in with whatever you said. So maybe you gave them this checklist and an audio. So you might want to set up the one-time offer to be like on the 3rd email. So that way you've given them time. So maybe on the 2nd time you said, oh, I hope you really enjoyed the audio that I sent you about blah, blah, blah. And then your one-time offer is going to be something that's going to take them to the next level. Like what's the next step for them? And that one-time offer is going to be to get them into a very low-tier product. It could be $47. This isn't where you're going to want to get them. You haven't proven yourselves to them yet. So this is a very low-tier product. So now you've got them in with your freebie. or they just opted into your newsletter, but now you want them to go to the next step where they're going to start spending money with you. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what you're going to want to do. So yes, it's great to have an autoresponder, but take it up a notch and let it start making money for you and actually start having a one-time offer. So that's one of the ways you can do it. So, you know, we have the Facebook way, we have, you can do it all through all kinds of different types of things on social media. There's all types of different ways you can use it on social media. In your opt-ins, there's all types of different ways, and some of these other things we're going to talk about, I'm going to refer back again to the opt-in. I just wanted to talk about it first so you understood that. So sales and landing pages. So here's what I'm going to tell you first of all. I noticed a lot of people didn't raise their hand and said that they had an opt-in on their page. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's my full disclosure. You guys ready? I've owned my marketing company for 22 years. 5 years ago, I moved to Dallas because my husband got relocated here, and I didn't know one single person in Dallas. Not one. And I knew that I moved my marketing company here, but a lot of my business was online. I knew that wasn't going to be a problem, but I really didn't know anybody here, and I knew that I was really going to have to change my business. It went crazy at first, and I went doing a whole lot of things. I made a brand new website that pretty much said on the front, it said, we're working on this, you know, put your email in here and I'll let you know when it's done, type of thing. You know how we've all done that? 3 years later, it still says that. I have to tell you that. Can you believe that? So I'm going to tell you that I'm taking away all your excuses, because I went from that business to a multiple six-figure income with no blog and no website. So you can do it. I'm not going to recommend that you do though, but you can do it. So I was hoping my new website, now actually I have a website for my other business and I have a website for my radio show, so it's like I have no website, but my regular website still says that. So here's the thing. So I was hoping it was supposed to go launch yesterday, and it's not actually going to launch to next week, so I thought that was kind of funny that I was going to come and speak to you about that, and I couldn't even just put up my own site to show you. It's kind of funny, but it does take your excuses away. So I want you to know, for this whole time that I've been doing that, I haven't even blogged. Like zero. Not one blog. Not one blog. Multiple six figures. You know why? Because I know how to build my list. And now remember when I told you how I sent out 300,000 emails every single month? Isn't that kind of crazy? But here's why. Because even though I didn't have my website done, I knew how to do sales pages and landing pages. So did I have some place to send them? Absolutely. I sent them to a sales page. Every single one of my business cards had a URL on it, and the URL went to my sales page. And on my sales page, I told them what I did and what I had. And all these people signed up. They signed up. They either wanted what I had, they wanted it, and so they did. Now, they had other avenues to find me too, but don't let not having a website or not blogging stop you. Now, will those things be very important? Absolutely. You'll do it much faster and make much more money if you do. But if you don't have that yet, don't think that where you are now, you can't make money. You should be building your list now no matter what, because there's ways to build your list without that. Get it though, but it's not the only way, okay? So you can have a sales page. So a sales page is pretty much like a one-page website. That's why sometimes it's called a landing page. It has its own URL, right? And so basically, I have all these sales pages, and when my site launches next week, all those sales pages, the domain name was the name of whatever the program was that I was selling, right? So I have connections to cash, I have, the six-figure follow-up. I have all those domains. That was what the sales page is, and it went to sign up for that program. When my website launches next week, those will all be on the back end of my thing, and people will still be able to be redirected from that to my website. They'll go to the same exact sales page. It'll just be on my website. No big deal. So the only thing that's going to change is my analytics. So that will change. But so you can do sales pages and landing pages too. And sometimes they're even better. I'm a speaker. I travel all over the world. And when I do programs, I do my programs and just send them to a landing page. And I'm going to give you an example just because normally I wouldn't talk about these things, but because we're talking about income generating, I will. So here's the thing. I met a girl at a networking event standing in line for coffee. Not at a meeting, we weren't having coffee. I was standing in line. When you're at a conference and they give you everything and everybody runs and you're standing in a big long line to try to get coffee. And we're talking. And she was saying something about relationships, that she was in relationship marketing. She did promotional sales products. So we started talking, and she was out of the country. She was there for that event. We started talking. We had a 5-minute conversation. 5 minutes. Out of that conversation, when I got home, she actually put this great testimonial about me on Facebook about how she had this conversation with Patty Farmer for 5 minutes, and I invited her to be on my radio show, and all these things happened, and how fabulous I was, and it was really great, actually. And stuff. But from that, 2 other people contacted me. So out of that 5-minute conversation, I ended up going to Canada to speak to 152 women at a retreat. And at that retreat, I sold a $697 program, and 45 people purchased it. 3 days later, I left Canada and went to London, England, where this girl lived, and she sent me up to come and speak to a conference that she was having there. I spoke at that conference to 102 women specifically. I did that same exact product, and 69 people purchased. I came home a week later. I was already booked to go speak at this conference in Florida. In 2 weeks period, from that one program that I didn't have a website for, that I had printed business cards with the sales page for that program, that one program, I net over $75,000. So what I'm telling you is that if you know how to list build, if you're building relationships and you can collaborate on things, it will make you money. So now all those people went on my list, right? So now I've already, it was a 5-week teleclass on list building, and so they all enrolled in that 5-week teleclass on list building. But remember, all I have was a sales page. Okay, so you can do that too. What is it that your product is? What do you sell? Is it a product or is it a service? What is it that you sell that you can get them to opt into, do a one-time offer, and grow it from there? Does that make sense? Okay, ethical bribes and freebies. I know, doesn't ethical bribe sound funny? Ethical bribe, what that is, you'll hear that, and an ethical bribe is pretty much this. What is it that you're bribing somebody to give you their email for? That's pretty much what an ethical bribe is. You know, what is it? Is it a white paper? Is it an ebook? Is it a video series? Whatever it is, it's an ethical bribe because they're willing to trade their email for it. Okay, and those are freebies. That's how they get onto your list as well. So that's another way to get onto your list. Okay. So the next thing is e-zines or newsletters. So e-zine is kind of like the new newsletter, right? So does anybody here have an e-zine instead of a newsletter? Awesome. So do you like it better than a newsletter? I actually like it much better than a newsletter, and it's pretty similar.
I'm here with a paid subscribe to it, so I like it a lot better.
Hi. So that's kind of one of the things too. So I think that that's kind of really important, is having that e-zine. Here's one of the ways that I do it. I have an e-zine, and what I do is I take my e-zine and I have articles in there, and they actually go back to blogs. Now remember when I told you I didn't have a blog? I actually have a blog on my radio show website, and on that website I have a lot of guest bloggers, and so I actually go back to there and stuff though. But what I'm telling you is if you have an e-zine or a newsletter, people like things in sound bites now, but it's a really great opportunity to use your e-zine to be able to drive people to whatever it is that you're selling. This way you don't have to be salesy. Like you're talking, you're giving them content, right? It could be your blogs that you already have, a couple paragraphs about your blog, and then say, read more here. And when they click on that from their email, it'll take them to your website or to your blog. And this way you'll drive them back to your blog, which will also drive them back to your website, of course, which will then make you look around on your website. So that's one of the ways that you can do that, but you're giving them content and value, and through that you can also tell them what else you're doing. Now I have to tell you, when they very first came out and I started getting these things in my email, remember when I told you I get like 2,000 emails every day? And I started getting these emails with little stories like, oh, we took our kids to the beach, and we did this, and I just got back from this vacation, I did this. My first reaction was like, what do I care? I'm busy, I'm going through all these emails, I'm like, what do I care? But you know what, it's kind of a funny thing. I started noticing that as I was unsubscribing, those were ones I never unsubscribed for. You know why? Because I kind of got to know them. They started sending me the things, and when they would tell me about their personal life, little things about what they were doing, and then they would kind of tell me a blog, and then they would tell me about what they're doing, and sometimes that thing was something I was interested in, and I would purchase it. Sometimes it was somebody that I knew in my network was interested in, and I'd pass it on. And all of a sudden I realized that, you know what, it kind of did have you have a little bit of a connection. So I actually think it really kind of helps you to build that relationship. And sometimes what happened is they would tell me about something that they were interested in doing that I would really love to have a part of, and I would send them an email back and say, oh wow, I really love that. That serves my audience. How can I support you in that? And that has led me to speaking engagements, it has led me to be a sponsor of certain things, and it's led me to collaborate with them on other things. You know, the next time they did things, or they're going to have a teleseminar that they're leading into an event they're going to have that they've asked me to speak on. So there's a lot of different things that you can do that you find out in that evening. Does that make sense? So really, you don't have to do very much. You're just putting little paragraphs about your blog and then one little thing about something about you. Not too tough. Okay? So that's kind of a good thing there. Making sense so far? How am I doing on time, Candace?
20 minutes.
Okay, good. Okay, so virtual events. So virtual events are like teleseminars, telesummits. So the difference between a teleseminar and telesummit is that a teleseminar is usually done all at one time. Telesummit is when you see those things where we're going to have 2 speakers a day and it kind of goes over weeks at a time. That's kind of a telesummit. If you actually are interested in something, like this is something you're interested in, and you want to know something more about it, pull together, like this is something you're going to do, and I'll give you an example. So for me, I really wanted to do live events. And so my first live event, I've done workshops and one-day events. I've done them for a long, long time. But I really wanted to do like a 3-day, big, huge gala type of big deal event. And I had never done it before. And I thought, man, you know, I have the list, but you know, it costs money and I get sponsors and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, wow, what am I going to do? So I thought to myself, I started checking it out, and there was all kinds of models of doing it. Some people did it this way, some people had this price ticket, some people gave away the tickets for free, some people said, you get in and you get to bring a friend for this. I mean, there was all these different models. And I thought, wow. So guess what I did? I said, oh, I'm gonna have a teleseminar. So I did a teleseminar, and I called up 20 people that were experts at doing live events. And I said, hey, will you guys come speak on my teleseminar about live events? And then I asked all the questions that I wanted to know, everything I wanted to know. They were all experts. I sent it out to my list. They loved me. And guess what? They all promoted it to all of their list. And here they were already doing events. And guess what? They all opted in, because in order to be a part of the teleseminar, they had to opt in. And because I was the one doing the teleseminar, they opted into my list. So guess what happens when I'm doing my event now? And I have to tell you, that one teleseminar put 2,700 people on my list. So that's 2,700 more people I get to tell about my live event. So that was really great. But here's the thing, I had no idea how to set up a teleseminar. I was like, I'm not a VA. You know, I have a VA, but my VA said, oh, I'm not really that technical. I didn't really know how to do that. So I went out to my network and I said, hey, who knows a really good technical VA? And they said, oh, here, blah, 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 blah. And they named up all these people. And I said, oh, I called them and I said, how much does that cost? They said, we charge $65 an hour. I was like, $65 an hour, how long will it take you? 2 hours. So I don't know about you, 2,700 people on your list that you get to sell something to. I paid 2 hours, she set it up, I didn't have to do nothing but show up. I invited all the people who thought I was wonderful. They went out to all of their people and told everybody, Hattie Farmer's doing this event, you guys all need to come listen, because they all wanted everybody to listen to them, because they were an expert, right? That was great. So is there something that you want to know about? Is there somebody that you would like to collaborate on? Is there something that you know that if you could get close to them, you could collaborate with them on something that would make you money? So here's the question. Who is an industry that serves the people you want to serve? That's the question. Who serves the people you want to serve? Or your target market? Because those are the people you want to collaborate with, right? My target market are speakers, authors, coaches, and service-based entrepreneurs. These people that have events, those were all my peeps. So now I got in front of all of their people, and that all helped me grow my list. So think about who you could do that with that would help grow your list. Okay, so here's another way. So another way is I had a friend who, so think of this, she wanted to do a giveaway. Now, has anybody here ever been part of a giveaway? Okay, so let me tell you what a giveaway is. A giveaway is when you get a bunch of people together who are experts, and they all give away something. So they set up this thing sort of like a teleseminar. You opt in on the list, and when you opt in, you get to go to this page, and you get to click and get all these free things. You know, it's a giveaway. So you go out to your list of people, and you say, okay, we're going to have one about marketing or this or that, and they go in there, and they get to go in there, and they get to click on these things. So when you go to these experts, you say, oh, I'm going to have this giveaway. So here's the one that I did. We're going to have this giveaway, and to be part of the giveaway, you have to pay $150. And at first I was thinking, I have to pay $150 to give something away? Well, yeah, well, here's why. Because we're going to put you on our site. All 25 people that are on the giveaway are all going to send it to their list. Everybody's going to opt in. When they go to the page, here's all the giveaways. If you give away something really cool that everybody's going to want, they all click on there and they all opt in your list to get it. So I paid $150. I gave away something. I gave away something really cool, free seat in that tel class thing. That didn't cost me any more money to have more people in the class that I was already teaching, right? So I gave that away, and like 2,700 people, I think it was like 2,800 actually, people opted in. So you can do a giveaway. What is it that you do that you know other people that do what you do, that you can do a giveaway? So these are like little teeny things, but those things help people opt in. And guess what? Those people that are opting in, they're your target market. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's kind of like joint ventures. I don't have much time, so I have to go faster. Okay, so speaking. Are people in here speakers? Do we have everybody speakers in here? Okay, so we have a couple. So speaking, this is a great way. It's a great marketing strategy. If you're doing speaking, obviously you're usually going to get to do an offer or some type of thing like that. I can give you a whole marketing strategy on speaking and how that can actually work in your list. That's really, really big. Article marketing. So we talked about that. So if you love to blog and you want to write articles, there's a lot of article directories that you can do. Digital magazine. A digital magazine is an amazing way to grow your list. People subscribe to it. You get other people to write articles. You're not even the one providing the content, right? You do the digital magazine. If you go to issue, ISSCU, it's free. Absolutely free. People subscribe, and when they subscribe, they opt in, and then they're on your list. Plus, you can actually do advertising in there, and once you get all these subscribers, you actually can have people pay you to do an ad in your magazine. So it creates money for you, and also builds your name, and a lot of people are going to want to collaborate with you. Okay, social media, we already talked about that. Books. Books are a great way to be able to do that. Follow-up strategies, video. I want to touch on that. Videos. Okay, so I know there's a lot of video people. I'm just going to say one income generating list building tactic. Make sure that when you do your videos, that when you do the description underneath your video, that the very first thing in the descriptor is a URL to a freebie. And make sure you have the HTTP so it's clickable. And make sure that the very first thing in the description has that, and then says, click here to get my free whatever. So that's the first thing they see, and that's what they want to click on in every single one of your YouTube videos. So make sure that you put that so that they opt in, so that they can get that freebie. That makes sense? Okay, blogging. Blogging is a great way to grow your list, utilizing guest bloggers. Make sure that when you're utilizing guest bloggers, this is a great opportunity for you because then they promote it to their list. Make sure that you go into blog directories. They actually even have blog registries where people register those. Look to find out who resonates with you in the sense that's in your space in that content and utilize guest bloggers. Okay, so remember when you're going out there to look for people, it's not about you, right? And when people are out there broadcasting, whether you're doing it offline or doing it online, that everybody listens to radio station WIIFM. What's in it for me? So make sure that's their radio station. If you're broadcasting, remember, it's not about you, it's about them. Okay, so really quick, I kind of went over these right here. These are the things that I actually talked about, free gifts, ebooks, e-courses, checklists, templates, videos. Those are some great free gifts. Date-driven events, so those are webinars, teleseminars, contests, challenges, giveaways. If you're a speaker, one of the best ways is to have a challenge. And if you have a Facebook group, have a challenge in that Facebook group on who can get different kind of speaking gigs and have all these people come together and they have to opt in to be talking about all the things they have to win the challenge. Great way to build your list. So we already talked about the e-zines, webinars, interview series. Okay, so if any of you were in the room like I was talking about podcasts is really, really great. Not all podcasting though, however, grows your list. For example, one of the very first things I did was I was on Blog Talk Radio. The reason why I haven't got off Blog Talk Radio is because I have over 3,000 people show up on my radio show live every single week. How does that be on your list? So you need to have them subscribe. So you need to make sure that you're doing something, offering something on your podcast that'll get people off the podcast and onto your list. If they're showing up every week for your podcast, for your radio show, they obviously love the information. Get them off that show and on your list so that you can be building your list. Make sure that you do articles and, again, valuable blog content. Okay, I'm going to give you a strategy right now. Here's 2 interesting strategies about books. One, LinkedIn Queen. If you're not connected to her, you should. She did this really great strategy. She really wasn't a client of mine, more than she was just a friend, but I was helping her with her marketing strategies. One of the things I do for my clients, however, are book launches. So I did this book launch for her. She said, Patty, can you put 100 people in the room for my book launch? I put like 450. Here's the thing that she did that I thought was the most brilliant strategy. In her book, Social Media for the CEO, on the bottom, this inch of the book, she had every single person that was a Twitter follower in alphabetical order. At the bottom, it was so small you could barely see them. But every single one of her, at that time, 32,000 followers in her book. You know why? So as a marketing strategy, you could tell everybody that if you're one of her Twitter followers, you were in her book. They were in her book. And then when we had the book signing, they would have her sign it on the page that their name was. They were all excited. How many more books do you think we sold? Lots and lots and lots of books. That made her money. Lisa Duty, those of you who probably saw her, that she's here, if you don't know her, she's here in town. She's a social media guru and stuff, a very good friend of mine as well. She actually tells in her story the 20 Twitter tips, even before she had a book. She used to tell everybody about going out and finding influencers, and that's how she said she found me. That she went out and found me on Twitter as an influencer. She actually used that, and she actually put me on page 18 of her book. At Social Media Day a couple weeks ago, she must have said it like 20 times in every single talk. Everybody would say, did you know Patty Farmer's in Lisa Duty's book? And everybody in the audience would say, yes, on page 18. It was like so funny and stuff. But that was a strategy that she used. It was really a great strategy. Books are a really great way. It automatically gives you expert status and stuff. So if you have a book in you, here's what you need to do. Lisa Duty had this little thing that she did, little talk on 20 Twitter tips. She actually took those 20 Twitter tips, added some more stuff, and she had a book. It was like amazing. So these are just a little ways that you can use the relationships you have with people. Use that as a strategy. Am I done? Am I ready? Okay. All right, I'm gonna do it. So remember, revenue's in the relationship, offline or online. Word of mouth is the same as word of mouth. Word of mouth is the same as word of mouth. So whether it is online or offline, build that relationship, because the revenue is in the relationship. That's very, very important for you to remember. Okay, word of mouth, word of mouth. Okay, I have 2 more slides. I'll make it fast. See this right here? I told Tony at the Social Media Day last time, this is one of the things, and I love Tony. He went right out and did it like the very next day. So this right here is a thing called Paperly. P-A-P period L-I, Paperly. And basically what it is an online newspaper, kind of like a newsletter, that you get to scoop information. So in case you can see here, the little picture down there, that Why Your Business shared by Patty Farmer, shared by Patty Farmer, shared by Patty Farmer. Basically what happens is you go out on Twitter and Facebook and you just click this button, click this button, click this button, it shows up on your magazine. It's free. You can pay $10, however, and if you pay $10, you can brand it. Tony obviously decided to brand it. So he did this, he just scoops information, he doesn't have to provide any of the content. He gets all the content from people on Facebook and Twitter. You're thinking, oh, well, what's so great about that? Here's what's great about that. So let's look at the top here. ETC thing, register for the Emerging Tech Conference. That made him money, right? Click right here, we could register. Everybody saw that when he sent it on Facebook and Twitter. Well, guess what? Everybody that actually that he scooped information, it sent them a thing saying that they were in his magazine. So do you think they retweeted it? Do you think they shared it? Of course they did. Everybody did, right? Okay, so he has that here. So pay-per-view ads, they drive traffic to your site. They can promote a JV partnership. You can monetize affiliate products if you have those. You can embed a media player. So you can take full control of your paper's advertising space. Full control. Isn't that kind of nice looking that Tony did? He just did that 2 weeks ago. Want to know the most exciting part of that whole thing? So here, this is making money. But guess what? If you have a content management system, like a Weber or any of those, everybody who subscribes to this automatically goes on your list. Ooh, how exciting is that? So these people see it on Twitter, they see it on Facebook, they love it, they subscribe, and now they're on your list. Hello? That's list building, okay? Now I'm gonna end you with this one. This right here is a friend of mine, she lives in Canada, her name is Elaine Lindsay. Here is my ka-ching. I know 3 people, including myself, and 3 of my clients. This thing I'm going to tell you right now is a 6-figure figure. Write this down. If you do Google Hangouts, how many people have ever done a Google Hangout? Okay, great. You're going to want to. So this right here, this thing on the bottom right here is called the lower third, where you get to write your information. Right? You get to write whatever you want. Make sure that in that lower third, you have a URL to your sales page. You know why? Because not only do you want people, a lot of people put their website, you want the URL to your sales page. Because guess what? When she's done with Google Hangout, it goes to YouTube. How many times will things, over how long a period of time, will people come across something on YouTube that might not have even seen that Google Hangout, might not even do anything, and they'll go there and they'll see that site. I'm going to tell you, that is a 6-figure tip right there. Every single one of your Google Hangouts needs to have a URL, and the URL needs to be something that generates money. Make sure it's also something that you have all the time, not like a program that you're promoting right now, because if somebody sees it on YouTube, 2 years from now, you want to make sure that it's something that you have all the time. Okay, so that's something you have right there. Okay, so I'd love to connect with everybody and continue this conversation. Here's where you can connect with me on social media. I'd like to invite everybody to connect with me. I'd love to continue the conversation.